Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. And here we are. We are doing it again and again and again and again, baby. Sex in the City. Woohoo! Season 3, Episode 3, Attack of the 5'10" Woman. Oh, well, different location. I am in the basement, or I should call my son's den or man cave. Overhead lighting, background doesn't come through. It's a cloudy day. I'm in New York. I'm in a New York state of mind. And it's damn cold. Well, no, it's actually 38 degrees. And I'm telling you, for New York, that's pretty good. And it's supposed to snow this weekend. So round cuatro for New York City. But it is what it is. It is New York. And I take it any which way I can get it, baby. Yeah, baby. So let's get into this. This one is written by Cindy Choprak. This time, it's the first time I've noticed that Sarah Jessica Parker is listed as a producer. So this is going to be interesting because it touches on the four ladies. Yeah, the four. We have Samantha, who has now officially been paying to have a massage with a happy ending. We have Miranda, who has acquired a cleaning lady, Magda. She's here. We have Charlotte, who has body dysmorphia, is the best way I can put it. And then we have Carrie, who is feeling a little insecure. Now, out of these four scenarios, I only was able to relate to one of them. So let's get into it and I'll let you know which one it is. I can't sing the theme song. Here we go. The scene opens with the narration of Carrie, who is stipulating that it is a Sunday. And one of the things she loves about New York City on a Sunday brunch, you can get eggs at any time of the day. And most of the times it comes with alcohol. Remember, this is 1999, year 2000, possibly. I think so. Still holds true. And another part that she enjoys is the New York Times Sunday section, the wedding section, which to her is the biggest sports events for most single ladies in New York. Not relatable to me. And it's so funny. I go through this so many times and I realize this more and more as I've watched this over the so many years, even when this was just fresh in my mind back then, that, as much as I watched this show, and remember, for most of my original watchers who went on this journey with me, you all know that I was forced to watch Sex in the City. I was not originally, I didn't fall into this like most people did. I was forced into it from my girlfriends, and season 1 was an eye-opener. So even though I've watched the series over and over again up and through, and Just That Crap showed up, which is why we're doing this again. The problem is that even back then, I didn't relate to any of these girls. The Sunday section of the New York Times, the whole wedding section, still baffles me to this day. I could care, and please don't take this the wrong way, or take it any which way you want. I don't really care who gets married. I barely care to join a wedding for people that I do care about. I know it's probably selfish. Yes, I had a wedding. Yes, I was forced to. I didn't grow up thinking I was going to have the fairy tale wedding, that blah, 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 blah. I was forced to because my ex-husband, or husband to be at that time, came from a big family. So we had the fairly medium sized wedding. We had like about 100 people. And it was nice, but it wasn't my dream. So reading about other people getting married in the New York Times section and the way that Carrie narrates, it's these sports events for the single ladies in New York City or New York. I could not, and neither did my friends at the time when we were watching this, nor do I feel the way same now. Because I haven't picked up a newspaper in many, many years either. It's not my thing. I really why would I care? And so I couldn't relate to it then, and I don't relate to it now. Let me know if that was something that you ever were interested, like reading the New York Times and finding out where in the wedding section who was going to get married. It must have been a thing because it wasn't a thing for me. Okay. So as the girls are round tabling, this time the scene opens with the girls having brunch. And, Charlotte, of course, being depressed because, every 26-year-old girl that's named in the paper is getting married except for her, though she is still not 26. She is in her 30s, which probably contributes to her mental state of mind. Um, she's upset because all these women are getting married and, she's going on and on about the fact that, they're all marrying Roman numeral men, James Fulani Fufu Fiti 15, whatever the hell she says. Then she accidentally turns the page and she quickly closes the newspaper in shock, gasping because, her acting skills are so sublime, rightfully so. And everybody at the table wants to know what is it that she saw that she closed the newspaper so quickly. And Samantha takes the paper out of her hand. And as she opens the paper, it's the attack of Mr. Big and freaking Natasha. Wedding notice in the New York Times. And I should have known then what I know now. My God, he's back. Yes, he's back. Oh my God. I was like, all right. I actually forgot about them. When I saw this, even right now, I was like, oh crap. I don't know why, but I thought we were done with this. I'm like, of course we're not done with this crap. So, Carrie sees the paper. She's visibly upset, though she tries to pretend she's not. And she goes, guys, I'm not surprised. They just had the engagement at the plaza. So she was expecting for them to get married, but she's upset because it has to be a New York Times, event. The jealousy starts to seep in. Yeah, it does. So as she goes home, Charlotte follows her to go home with her, and she tries to grab the New York Times paper because she knows that Carrie is going to, read it, the story about how they fell in love and their whole marriage. And, Charlotte's trying to be protective, and Carrie's like, I want to be alone. And she's like, no, I know what you're going to do. You're going to read it. You're going to cry. It's going to be awful. So let's get it over together. See, I would have done the same thing with my friend, except that I would have burned the paper. We all have our choices, people. So, as Charlotte is reading the love, exciting and bored, come aboard, it's all bullshit, the fake love. I'm in a spicy mood today. I don't know why. I might be a little grumpy. You can call me out on it. So this one got me. This episode got me. So she is explaining about, the story that the New York Times is running to Carrie about the love of Natasha and Mr. Big, and they fell in love in France, and, everything relates to either New York or France to this damn story plot. And, Carrie's visibly upset. She goes, whatever, they fell in love. Oh my God, whatever. Yeah, well, yeah, whatever, because that's your dream life. So, she's still going on about all the wonderful things that she supposedly did and how they met, and her eyes sparkled when he saw each other, and that she fell in love the minute he sat down. And Carrie's like, you were drunk and he was rich. She's poo-pooing on this whole narrative that the New York Times is running. And then it got to her. Because Charlotte's like, oh, honey, then, the bride walked down the aisle with calla lilies wrapped in a red bow. And, Charlotte tries to make it sound like it's disgusting and, whatever. Poor Carrie's like, yeah, okay. And the song, When a Man Loves a Woman, played while she walked down the aisle. Charlotte tries to play it off again. Oh, well, that's tacky. And then that's when it hit her, Carrie. No, that's big. She knows his music, right? I was like, then she starts to cry and she starts to put her head down. And then that's when it got me. Even to this day, it gets me. Because you know what? Yeah, been there. done that because she's like, it's her. It's her shiny hair and her perfect life. It's her. And I'm like, yeah, well, I feel that way about you and just like crap. It's you. But I can only focus on one show at a time. And I related to that. That happened to me. Where it's like, you just want to know why. Why not me and why that person? And it's always, comparing herself. And she feels that, she feels, which is so funny, every time she freaking says this line, that she's the one that gets, her columns read next to penile, enlargement advertisements. And I'm thinking to myself, yeah, that might be true. But that lifestyle that you're living, that no one else can believe that you're living, that, that you're buying, Louis Vuittons and you're buying Kristen whatever shoes and all this other stuff and living in an apartment that's unrealistic. You might be next to penile, enlargement columns, but somehow, some way, we never know why or know how, your ass is affording this lifestyle. So shut up. That's how I felt back then. I was like, girl, for someone who's next to penile enlargement campaigns, you want to switch? You want to switch? It still gets me to this day. You poo-pooing on your whole lifestyle because of some girl that's got your man that you never really had to begin with. Of course, that's what I said at that time. We know what happens. It is so funny how they've dragged this character, Natasha, throughout the entire, not just season of Sex in the City, but even in Just Like Crap. Because no matter what, how many times Mr. Big has proven to Carrie, but not to us, because I still don't know why he fell in love with her, she still is some sort of remnants in Carrie's mind. You know what happens in Just Like Crap. She stalks her. So don't worry, Natasha. Hold on to your man for what you got, because she'll be back. So now this whole thing is all the setup for Carrie to run around New York City to try to prove to Natasha that she's better than her. And how this has happened? Well, we'll get into it because the next scene we have is Miranda. Miranda has gotten a cleaning lady. And let's all cheer because it's Magda. And I'm going to say my piece here. It is very upsetting to me that in Just Like Crap reboot, we never get some sort of epilogue of what happened to the character Magda. Because she was with this series even through the two movies. And of course, we know the actress has passed away, so that means probably that they should have made some sort of mention to Magda in the opening of some point or somewhere in the middle of Just Like Crap, even if it's just a short remembrance, a picture on the wall, Brady saying something. It would have been nice to tail end that because Magda went through this with her. They put this character through hell. She had her running up and down Brooklyn between Steve and her house when that whole movie happened. She went through this with her throughout the entire, raising Brady, being there for her. Like, at the very minimum, at least do a memorial, like in memory of the actress's name. Nothing. We got nothing. And I think that should have been something that should have been said because when I saw her, my heart went out. I was like, ay, pobrecita la Magda. It was freaking hilarious to see her in the opening scene. I have forgotten how good she was when she started, even throughout the entire series. So let's give it up to Magda and the actress who, she played a pivotal role and I think that she should have been loved. And her introduction to the lifestyle of the rich and horny. So let's get into it. Stay tuned. And hey, if you're enjoying this so far, can you do me a favor? For the 26% that have not yet subscribed yet, why don't you take the time and subscribe a little bit? Because I have more content coming. I got more series coming. I've been watching other shows. And this one does relate to so many of our lives. So, why don't you hit subscribe? Do me a favor, stay tuned. Let's go into how we get Magda, nipple clamps, and a goodie drawer, closet, thingy, whoozy. So as we get introduced to Magna, who is the cleaning lady of Miranda, she is reorganizing the kitchen with the cups and everything that Miranda has done. She's undone because she's the cleaning lady, and Miranda's very confused, but she's trying to accommodate it for Miranda. That's pretty big. And as she is trying to also offer her tea instead of her normal coffee, which, by the way, please don't do that to me. I don't like tea. I don't want to say I don't like tea. I'm not a big tea person. I could get into it. I just don't like the offerings that are out there. I want to go to a real tea place, which I think is in Chinatown, that you can get loose leaf teas. And one of these years I will go into Chinatown and I find that one spot that I'll name when I can remember the name of it, and I'll give it a shot. Excuse me. So here's the thing. Magda is trying to get to know Miranda in a way, and she offers her the tea. She doesn't take the tea. She offers her a cup. Miranda wants her own. I was a lawyer, and here's my coffee cup. And then she finds a rolling pin, and she asks Magda, "Why do I have this?" And she goes, "It's to make pies, because every woman needs to make pies." She's so cute. Oh my God, I love Magda. And Miranda's like, why? She goes, "Because, you want to get married." And she's like, I don't know if I want to get married. She goes, no, I've been married 27 or 28 years. Everybody wants to get married. I'm like, I'm with you, Miranda. Not everybody wants to get married. Trust me. Not that I didn't. Actually, I never thought I would get married. There's a difference. The offer came. It happened. I tried it on like a pair of jeans. It didn't fit. It didn't work. I did it. So as Miranda's pondering this whole rolling pin scenario with Carrie, who is shopping for an outfit. She's asking her if she has a rolling pin, and of course Carrie is like, with me right now? And she goes, no, just in general, because apparently women who want to get married need to have a rolling pin. She goes, I don't even know how to cook. I store stuff in the oven. We're still going with that. So as Carrie goes in to change into the outfit that she's decided to try on, attack of the 5'10" woman, Natasha, comes out from the other dressing room, and Miranda is speaking to Carrie through the curtain, and she sees her coming out, her being Natasha, and Carrie wants to get a different size, and she tries to prevent Carrie from coming out of the dressing room, to no avail, because as she comes out, Natasha turns around and says, "Carrie?" And, she's half naked. Well, she has her underwear and she covers herself up. And, it's a very polite situation. And, Carrie tries to say, "Oh, I read about your thing. Oh, congratulations." And she goes, "Oh, thank you." And she says, "Oh, that's nice what you got going on." Carrie tells her, she goes, "Yes, it's for this woman of the arts soiree that she's head of the chair or chairing something. I don't know. I don't even listen to this 5'10" woman anymore. And I should have, because I should have known then what I know now. And I still didn't pay attention. And Carrie's like, "Yeah, oh yeah, I go to that every year, because I'm a woman in the arts because I'm a writer." You were just next to penile enlargement ads. Sure. We'll go with that. And she goes, "Oh, so you're going to this thing?" That's her, response to Carrie. She goes, "Yeah, with clothes on." And Miranda's looking at her like, "What the hell are you talking about?" And she's like, "Sure." And poor Natasha, she's like, "Okay, then I'll see you there." And she goes to the next dressing room to get, I guess, undressed. And the next scene we have is Carrie is complaining to Samantha that now she needs to find the invitation because she's never been to one of these Women of the Arts, though she's a member. And Samantha, being Samantha, is like, "Why do you want to go? Is Mr. Big gonna be there?" She goes, "No, this is not about Mr. Big. It's about Natasha." Though I do sympathize. I don't want to make fun of Carrie at this point. I do understand. It is something that we need to do, and it doesn't happen to all of us, but I will tell you that it did happen to me, that I got very, very jealous because that person was with the person that I wanted to be with, and he chose her over me. And I was like, "Ugh, ah, ugh," trying to be a lady. And plus, I don't want to give my wrinkles more time to settle in while I get angry, so. Ugh, 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 ugh. Ooh, that brought up some feistiness in me. Sorry. It still bugs me at this time, though they never worked out. And he did try to come back to me, the word try. And I was like, um, no, that felt good. Little story time there. So, Samantha's like, I'm going to do one better for you. Not only am I going to find the place, I'm going to go with you. And Carrie's like, why? Now do you support the women in the yard? She goes, no, honey, I support you. And because these bitches need to be put in their place. That's all. Samantha could have ended the scene and we could have ended the show right there and I would have been happy as a pig in shit. So now we have the fact that Carrie is now not only going to this woman of the arts just to be fabulous and look amazing in front of Natasha. Samantha's going to go with her. Great. Push her over to the side. So Miranda is getting ready to go to work and Magda is back home and she came a little bit earlier and she's getting her bed ready, doing her bed. And I have to admit, it is a little odd to have a cleaning lady. I have personally never had one. No, I've never had one, but I do understand that it's kind of awkward for some people, especially if you know that you should be cleaning, which is one of the things Miranda says that, she feels bad sometimes because she feels like even though she has a cleaning, she feels that she should be the one cleaning. I could see that, but then after a while, I'd probably get very accustomed to it. I could customize myself if I had a cleaning lady doing my bed. Well, yeah, I can see that. I like that. So as she's doing her bed, Magda's telling her that she reorganized the bathroom, she's reorganized everything, and she opens up the top drawer of her nightstand, and out comes Miranda's goody nightstand drawer. So for all you who know me a little bit, well, let's get into this. So Miranda says, no, 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 don't open it. And out falls all of her goody stuff. And Magda is shocked. And, she quickly closes it. And she tells, Miranda tells Magda, don't go in there. And Magda's like, do you want to be with someone? And she goes, I do have a boyfriend. She goes, well, do you want to marry him? And she goes, I don't know, well, poor Magda doesn't know what to say. And Miranda's like, listen, for a long time I didn't have a boyfriend, but now I do. And I just keep it there. Okay. We thought we were done. No. So one other thing that Magda says that she will not marry this guy if she keeps that in her drawer. And that offended Miss Miranda. I don't know how much that is true, but I could see why Miranda got offended. And she turns around and she tries to walk out of the room. And poor Magda says, God bless you. And Miranda turns around and tells her, I don't need to be blessed. I don't need a mother. I have one already. And goes off on poor little Magda. And she walks out of the room. And I'm like, but wait. She said, God bless you. She didn't put you into hell. My God. But, Miranda has a thing about her mom, so we're not going to go there. So the next scene we have is now we're going to touch upon a little bit of Charlotte's body dysmorphia. So I thought, which is why I thought I could relate to this specific scenario. They're at a spa, the ladies, and they're going into the sauna room. And as they're about to head into the room, Miranda proclaims what happened with Magda and her finding her goodie drawer. And, all the girls except for Charlotte says, well, everybody knows that you shouldn't open up the top drawer of your nightstand. That's where you keep your goodie stuff. And, and poor Charlotte's like, well, what does that mean? I don't have one. What do you keep in there? And each one of them, freaking, of course, Carrie is like, massage oil, cigarettes. Charlotte, is like, okay. And then, Miranda tells them what she has, vibrator, condoms. And Samantha's like, nipple clamps. And everybody's like, nipple clamps? She goes, yeah, not for me, for him. As a guy, you would use somebody else's nipple clamps? Just drop a comment saying, yay, nipple clamps, if you have done this. I'm just saying. Little kinky. So as they go into the sauna, here's my version of why I feel that, they all say everybody has a goodie drawer. Now, I do not, but I'm a firm believer that you need a goodie safe. And that safe needs to be kept in the dark corner of the recesses of your closet. I've said this before because you never know who's going to go through your drawers, or in a floor safe, if you can, finagle that. Those things need to be kept away from sight. Now, you can come to my house and you can check, but I will never tell you where I keep my goodie safe. It is safe. But I'm just saying, keep your things away from anybody being able to open anything. And I've said this because we've seen people going to other people's houses and they're opening up their drawers, they're opening up their freaking medicine cabinets, they're rummaging through their things, put it in the safe, lock it up, and throw away the key, honey. Just for certain things that you just need to keep private. Yeah, baby. And only take it out when nipple clamps suffice. Imagine you being in an intimate situation and you just say, hold there for a minute, and you just go into a secret location and then you come out with whatever goodie bags that you have in that goodie safe. That'll freak the hell people out. I love it. I'm a little spicy today, like I told you. So as they go into the sauna, everybody's taking off their clothes. We don't really see the girls taking off their clothes, or their towel, I should say, and except for Charlotte. And Charlotte is looking around at all the naked women in the sauna, and she's getting a little crazy in her head. And she says that, hey, I don't feel comfortable here. I'm too hot. And everybody's like, well, take off your towel. She goes, no, I'm going to leave. So as she leaves, Carrie runs after her, and Carrie's trying to figure out what's wrong with her. And she goes, I just don't feel comfortable being naked in front of other women. And, I agree. As I'm looking around, I'm like, listen, I grew up, and with my friends, there's certain things that we just don't see. Like if I'm at somebody's house, or I don't do saunas, not because I don't want to be naked. I just don't like saunas. I've been to gyms, and the ladies' locker room is a free for all, just so I could presume like the men's locker room is a free for all. I cover up. I am not putting a shame to anyone who doesn't want to. It's just me, my friends and I, we just don't behave in that manner. I come out of the shower at my friend's house. I have a robe on. I have a towel on. We're always covered. I've never seen my friends tatas or hoo-hoos or wawas or none of that. We just don't grow up like that. And it's just something that I'm glad that none of my friends were uncomfortable feeling the same way. It's not to say that everybody needs to feel the same way, but when I do go to a gym and I do go to a women's locker room, I understood at that moment what Charlotte was trying to say. Like she's looking around, everybody's like, it's all comfortable and you see breasts everywhere and there's nothing wrong with it, and they're all women, but it's just me. So that's what I thought that she was self-conscious about. And that's what Carrie was trying to explain. I'll try to get out of her. And she's like, I didn't grow up in a naked house. And Carrie's like, well, I didn't grow up in a naked house either. And she goes, yeah, but that's not the problem. You have a perfect body. And like Carrie's like, oh my God, you're delusional. You have a beautiful figure. And she goes, no, but here's the thing. Then why did that girl in the sauna thought that my thighs were too big? I'm like, what? We went from not wanting to see someone else's stuff to people thinking that they were looking at her because her thighs were too big. which what I thought was, I kind of sort of related with Charlotte first, and then I realized this has nothing to do with her being uncomfortable and being naked. This is a body dysmorphia that she has in her mind, that her thighs are too big. And we all have our own way of looking at each other, okay, or ourselves. I should be clear. Not poo-pooing on the dysmorphia part. I'm just like, how did we get from that to this? So it was never about that. It was always about her thighs. They really need to give something to Charlotte, and boy, do they give her storylines. But okay, we'll go with that. So now, as you know, we try to figure out why Charlotte has this thing about her thighs. Samantha, as she walks out of the sauna, as Carrie narrates, she's always been comfortable with herself, and she stops off to get a drink, and this chick shows up. She goes, "Oh, I just had the most amazing massage with Kevin." I'm like, "Uh-oh, here we go." And she goes, "Oh, really?" She goes, "Yes. Kevin gives happy endings." And Samantha, who has a goodie closet, as Carrie narrated, doesn't need to pay for a massage with a happy ending. Okay, great. Until Kevin comes out to give this chick whatever she forgot. Which, by the way, I do not find him particularly handsome at all. I wouldn't have stopped to get a happy ending from that. And when Samantha sees him, she goes, so now Samantha is waiting in line for the next appointment with Kevin so she can get her happy ending massage. I'm like, really? This is what we're going to give the story to Samantha, the woman who can literally call up anyone in her phone, in her closet, in her drawer, in her, just walking out on the street, she can find a man. Now she's going to have to pay for someone to give her a happy ending. They do. So as Samantha is waiting for her appointment with Kevin and his happy ending massage, we have Miranda, who has made the decision, since Steve was not available that evening, to utilize her goodie drawer. And as she lays down and gets ready to be mesmerized by her drawer, she opens it up and finds more of a religious statement made by her house cleaner, Magda. And as she takes the statue of the Virgin Mary in replacement of her other items, she's perplexed, confused, and most likely disappointed. Yeah. Later that week, we have now Carrie, who is having lunch with Charlotte, the body dysmorphia queen. And, she's claiming to Charlotte that, she just had to buy a new pair of shoes for this ladies who lunch event that she's going to go and kick the 5'10" woman, Natasha, Mrs. AKA Big. And she just had to buy these shoes. And also she's eyeing a dress at Bergdorf that's probably going to cost her a month of rent, though we don't know what that rent is and how she's paying for it. But these are all items that she needs because she needs to look fabulous in order to kick the 5-foot Mrs. Big in her buttocks. And as Charlotte is trying to tell her that she looks fabulous just the way that she is right now, and she can go to that event without any of those things, and she would still be the best looking woman at that party. Carrie does say something that's very useful. She goes, "Oh, wow, that's amazing. Why can't you do that for yourself?" When it hits Charlotte that maybe her cuckoo crazy about her thighs, the next thing we have is that she goes back to the scene of the crime, the sauna, and she's running around the sauna, and she's by herself, and she's going to sit in the sauna, and she's going to untowel herself in front of everyone that has lived in a naked house. So as she is running around the sauna, she sits down and she untowels herself comfortably alone with other women in there, not her friends. And one of the ladies just looks at her. She goes, "I would kill for your breasts." Looking at her. And that made Charlotte happy because it was not her thighs, it was her breasts that she would kill for. And that's the end of Charlotte's arc. So I guess she's okay now. I'm going to need to start going to a sauna. See what I get. Mine are 38G. Would you kill for that? Would you? Now we go back to our Samantha, who has now half the appointment with Kevin down under, who still to me is unattracted no matter what under he is. And she's waiting as he's massaging her for her ultimate happy ending. And as the time is going, she realizes that it's getting closer to the 85-minute mark of this massage. And she has decided that she's going to take things into her own hands as she gropes him. And the next scene you have is that she is being scolded by the owner of this sauna with a happy ending, massage masseuse. And she goes, I'm sorry. This is a respectable place and I must protect my staff and I can no longer have you as a member here. And, in the narration, it's like she knows that it's not that she's protecting him. She's just not protecting anyone. She's protecting Kevin. And Samantha says, well, I know for a fact that Kevin has given happy ending to other customers, which is why I booked him. And he looks completely shocked as if he was hit with like a deer in headlights. I'm like, dude, you've been giving happy endings all over the place. You honestly going to tell me that you didn't think that word of mouth was not going to get around? You see what I did there? Yeah, baby. This is a ridiculous storyline. Okay, Samantha, you know better. You don't need to pay for this. So as the woman is shocked, the owner, and he's shocked that he's being outed. That's it. We end that scene. So I guess Kevin is no longer going to be part of the happy ending club. Great. Now, oh boy. We have the event of the women who lunch, women in the arts, or whatever the hell is going on here. Carrie has purchased the dress that's going to cost her a month's rent and the shoes, and Samantha's with her. And Samantha's very upset because she feels that it was false advertisement, as she's claiming very loudly in the group of waiting on the line that she has been promised that she was going to have a happy ending and that she was misled. And everybody was like, what the hell is going on? And I'm saying the words nicely because that's not exactly the words that she said. Mm-hmm. And, Carrie's like, I don't think we should be talking about this right here. I'm like, you think? And as they are proclaiming how beautiful they look, and Samantha's like, you look amazing, and Tasha's is gonna be amazed by you because you look amazing. How much more coddling does this woman need? She has gotten it every episode, every season, even through Just Like Crap. I'm still a little spicy. So as they're waiting to get their name tags, hello, my name is Fabulous. Carrie realizes that, Natasha's tag is still there and that she has not shown up yet. And the woman that's giving out these, hello, my name is Fabulous tags says, oh, Natasha's got the flu. She's not going to come. And Carrie's upset. She goes, what? This whole shenanigan was to prove to Natasha that, number one, she can see her with fabulous clothes on and look fabulous. And Natasha, not that so dumb girl, said at the time that she saw Carrie that, oh, you're going to go. She knew back then that she was not going to go to this soiree because she didn't want to deal with Carrie. Because, she's chairing this thing, and I find it very ironic that she's not feeling well to attend it. Of course not. Because she doesn't want to get the Carrie plague. So, Carrie's upset, and Samantha's like, damn it. And, she's like, oh, we better leave. And Samantha's like, no, I paid $85. We're going to sit down and get our 2 drinks. $85 back then for 2 drinks. That is still extreme today. A little bit. Now, let's get into the tail end of this stupid freaking storyline. Though I started off sympathizing with Carrie, and now not so much. Okay? Let's tail end this bad boy. So, because of the change in Miranda's goody draw, the exorcism that Magda has performed, Miranda confronts Magda with the Virgin Mary statue that was left in her goodie drawer and asks, who is this and why is she in my drawer? As if she doesn't know that's not the Virgin Mary, which is what exactly Magda says. That's the Virgin Mary. And she goes, and where is my other stuff? And poor Magda's like, what other stuff? As she's trying to still arrange the tea for her. And she goes, you know that I know that you know that you know that I know what it is. And she tells her where she put it. And then as she goes to look for it, Magda proclaims, but no man will marry you if you keep that in the drawer. It would mean that you don't need them. Not sure if that's quite true. Let me know if you are one of those men that are intimidated by goodie drawers. Because if you are, then you'll be intimidated by goodie closets and goodie safes. Yeah. So listen, that offends Miranda, and she goes off on my poor Magna, and she tells her, listen, I don't need another mother. I have one in Pennsylvania, and that's good enough for me. I am a woman that is a 34-year-old single woman who has sex and likes to use electronic devices and blah, 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 blah. And I'm just listening to her. I'm like, why are you yelling at my girl? I didn't like that. And Magda's just looking at her like, mm-hmm. She goes, and if you don't like it, I need a cleaning lady. And if you don't like it, I will find someone else. As she storms out and leaves Magda looking at her like, I'm like, yo, first of all, if that would have been me, I would have thrown her goodie drawer at her. Okay? Don't be talking to my girl like that. Who you think you are? That's abuse. Okay? I don't care what that woman did. It's maybe because I have a soft spot because I know how far we go in with Magda and because she's an elder and because she's cleaning her house. My God, woman, can't you give her a break? Okay. As she storms out, we are now greeted with the tail end of this story with Carrie as she's sitting with a group of ladies who are asking her, maybe you could help doing some other fundraiser. And, Carrie, as belligerent as she is, I write about sex. Do you think the kids would want to know about me writing about BJs? You think that will be great for a charity event? And the women are like, well, we can find something for you. So she's pissed off because, she is still a Sex and the City columnist, but she's a woman in the arts, which is why she went to this event, right? Right. So then Samantha comes back with someone, I don't know, this chick, and says, guess what? This chick went to college with Natasha. Tell her what you told me. And she's like, oh yeah. So Natasha had sex in one of the communal showers, and that's it. And then Samantha's like, and oh yeah, she was a cheerleader, and at college sophomore she gained 10 pounds. And Samantha's so happy that, first of all, she got some good or dirt on Natasha. And Carrie's like, thanks. As the girl walks away, she goes, and that's supposed to make me feel better? She goes, Samantha's like, well, it's something. And she's like, okay, thanks. And she narrates, you got to love Samantha for trying to make her feel good about, her tawdry past of having sex with a guy in a communal shower and gaining 10 pounds. She goes, honey, 10 pounds does not make a porker. Something like that. She goes, well, fine. As they're trying to walk out, the woman that had introduced Samantha to Kevin at the sauna recognizes Samantha and says, hey. And she's like, they turn around. She goes, oh yes, I met you at the spa. And these other two women, she turns around, hey, this is the woman that got Kevin fired. Apparently, word of mouth of this happy ending Kevin got around. And when I looked at these other two women, plus the woman that introduced Kevin to Samantha, I'm like, so to be clear, he chose to be with these other three women and not Samantha? Huh, honey. That was shocking enough for me. And one of them says, and who's going to F me now? And all the other two ladies like, Kevin F'd you? So apparently this happy ending had a little bit deeper penetration than I anticipated. And as Samantha and Carrie look at them and realize that they need to figure out their own problems, they walk away. So then The next scene we have is Miranda uh, settling in for the evening, and she's feeling great because she has a freshly cleaned house, and that she felt that she took a stand with Magda about her stand. So as she lays down on her bed, she turns on her night lamp, and Magda left her a ring of love. So she leaves a little plate of Trojan condoms for her, giving way to Miranda's way of her way. And I was like, oh, and has that, feeling of Miranda's like, oh, she accepts the fact that she is who she is and she's going to give her the ring of love. And this is why I fell in love with Magda. Because, through the elder abuse that she had endured with Miranda, she still allowed her to have her goody draw circle of love. Hmm? So the last scene we have is Carrie is walking around in her apartment and she is dressed in a white outfit. And I say this because as she's narrating that she, she's come to accept that Natasha is Natasha and she's married to Mr. Big and that she's never going to be the one with the perfect hair or be able to wear white without getting something spilled out. And as she's wearing white in her own apartment with flats on her bed, and she opens up the thank you letter that Natasha has sent out for all the women in the arts. And as she's reading this thank you letter, she realizes that the faux pas that our wonderful 5'10" woman, Natasha, who's 25 years old and is very intimidating to our 3 foot tall Carrie, who wears heels and can only charge clothes that she cannot afford at a month's rent, and her advertisement of her column is next to penile enlargements, but somehow has a fabulous life, and she gets to date men and men that fawn all over her, and she never cooks, and she only keeps bags and clothes in her oven. I think I covered it. She realizes that the woman spells, "I'm sorry I couldn't be there." Instead of THER, she wrote THEIR. And she calls Samantha and tells her, thank God Natasha got married because the girl is an idiot. And that's how it ends. So we went bashing through the snow till to Natasha. No matter what she does, she was kind of stupid because I'm sorry, but I find that a little shocking that that person at that age doesn't know how to spell the THER version of there. But they had to put something to clear this up to make Carrie's character to seem legitimately shouldn't feel the way that she feels because the girl's an idiot. Epilogue. Woo. I got my voice back a little bit, but I lost my arm. So I have tennis elbow, and you're probably seeing the light change because I'm in the basement and I'm looking at the television screen, so you could see the screen in the back of the window. As I go through this, I stop and I rewatch certain episodes, parts of the episode so I could remember. So you'll see in the background some of the television that I'm using to watch the show. I got tennis elbow because the 5 months I took to unhouse my apartment in Miami, I was moving bags and boxes, and I somehow really hurt my arm. And of course, my herniated disc didn't help either. So I think that's why I'm a little spicy right now, because I wake up every day in pain, though I've been doing this arm thing and it's gotten way better. Now I can actually touch my arm. I can feel like range of motion is back again. And I cannot tell you how grateful I am that I can feel again. And I'm not waking up in excruciating pain. It took me a couple of days to get my mind together to do this, because I promised that I was going to get 3 out a week. And then I got the last one out and I was exhausted. And this is the first time that I can actually do this. Like, I can actually move my arm out, and it's all part of the aging process, baby. Though I think tennis elbow you can get at any age, but it was very stressful because I was moving a lot of stuff out of my apartment by myself for months. as many of you know, I've been saying I'm going to move for months. So it finally caught up with me, but I'm dealing with it. So that's why I had to get a little bit of inspiration and really get back into this, because as I started editing the last one I just did, and thank you all for who caught it and watched it and and responded and commented. It took my arm, because this is of course my main arm. This is my right arm. So, this is the one that I do most of my work with. So trying to reach for things. Oh my God. So I don't know if I'm going to go for physical therapy right now. It's only sore right here when I touch it very lightly, but it's nowhere bad. I mean, if you would have known the pain that I was in my last video, you wouldn't even understand how I got through that. Lots of Tylenol. So epilogue. Listen, I started to relate to Carrie because I been in that position where I question, why did this person pick someone over me? So she's one storyline, and I felt bad for her at this point. I was like, yeah, I get that. I was going to relate to Charlotte, but the body dysmorphia thing, it's very prevalent. I know people have that. We all have things that we don't like about ourselves, like there's nothing wrong with that. But I related more into the, being in a naked house, being in a naked area, like showing your body. I don't relate to that at all. And it's just me. So don't judge me. I mean, you could, but I don't care. Samantha, let's see. Not Charlotte, Miranda and her goodie drawer. You know how I feel about goodie drawers. Keep your shit tight, put it away. Don't need to put it anywhere, because if anybody can walk into anything, just put it away. And Samantha, yeah, okay. I didn't relate to the fact that she had to pay for a happy ending. This is Samantha. Come on. I thought it was stupid. I was like, come on, this is Samantha. We're talking about a woman who can literally just walk out the door and get whoever she wants in theory, right? But her story with Carrie being there for her, trying to find, first of all, going to the event with her because she supports her, and then trying to find a way to find some dirt on Natasha to make Carrie feel better about herself. That's the one that I resonated the most, believe it or not, because it goes back to what I said, the friendship. Because at the end of the day, I would have done the same thing with my girlfriends. I would go ham on them. I would figure out a way, even though I don't believe it and you feel bad, I will try to find some way to make you feel better about you. So that's the one that I resonated the most with. And it goes back to the characters that were so developed in this show and were taken away from us in Just Like Crap. And that missing piece, which is the love and the friendship, which I keep saying and I will keep screaming until the freaking cows come home, which is why Just Like Crap is crap, and why this show, though I've heard some people on the internets say that this show has aged not too well, I actually disagree with that. Okay, I'm in the basement and I may have allergies. Bless me. So I actually disagree with that. I think that there's certain time capsule parts of it that dates the show, because it doesn't happen now, in the sense that, payphones, like I said in the last episode, newspapers that people don't really do anymore. Like there's certain time capsule things that maybe doesn't resonate, but I think the storyline itself throughout the season does resonate with a lot of people still today. There's still people who are adamant about getting married very young, or being obsessed with reading, who got married. I mean, the internet and YouTube and just, the explosion of information that we are able to consume now from every part of our world. I mean, I grew up in a generation where we didn't have that. Like, either you watch television, Entertainment Tonight, to get your gossip of the du jour, or every once in a while, the news channel will give you a snippet of something that happens to one of the, people that are famous. Now it's everywhere. Everybody's famous. Everybody's infamous. Everybody has a commentary channel. Everybody is commentating on many different things, on many different levels. And it wasn't like that before. So even if you didn't know what you didn't know at that time, you can find out through a newspaper, through a magazine, through Entertainment Tonight and stuff like that. Now you could just turn on your YouTube channel, turn on your Instagram, turn on your, what is the other stupid thing? TikTok, TikTok. And everybody's talking about everything. So I don't think this show, it does age well, because unfortunately people are still obsessed with their looks, their money, their life, somebody else's life. We still get jealous, we still are annoyed, we still have boyfriend problems, boyfriend, girlfriend, it's everywhere. And this show does touch upon all those kinds of scenarios. It's just that the way it's done back then, I still believe that it still resonates with us, because I don't know many people who don't feel jealous about somebody else, or doesn't feel uncomfortable, or feel like they need to, one up somebody, or there's a friend out there that will be your ride or die, or the ones that will turn your back on you. It's everywhere. So for those who feel that this show didn't age well, I don't believe that at all. I think it aged just as well, and it does resonate 25 to 30 years later, because we as humans have not evolved past that. We haven't. It's who we are. It's human nature. We're going to get jealous. We're going to feel uncomfortable. We're going to cry. We're going to have friends. We're going to lose them. We're going to go through this whole thing. It's been like this since, from what I know, a very long time. I was not here in the beginning of time, so I will not say the beginning of time. So tell me how you felt about this episode. We're getting closer to Carrie and her new love. You know who's coming. This is the season of you know who, and it's coming. I already kind of saw it coming. Tell me how you felt. Drop a comment. If you haven't subscribed and you've enjoyed this content and I brought value to you, I would appreciate it, because my goal is to have 2,000 subscribers by the end of this year. And I'm working very hard in the pain that I'm in the new environment that I'm in my entire new lifestyle, to bring this to you. And I'm happy to do so. And I hope that you guys are still enjoying it, because I want these videos to start picking up. So I'm pushing the algorithm as much as I can, but I can't do it without you. So you'd have to like, comment, subscribe, engage, hype, all the wonderful YouTube stuff that keeps throwing at us to make things of our creators more difficult to get out there in the algorithm. More to come. And I want to wish you, everyone, a blessed day, a blessed night, a blessed weekend, a blessed month, a blessed year. And I will see you in the next one very, very soon. So from here to around the world that I reach, thank you, everyone. Have a beautiful day. Goodbye. Mwah.